Item Asylum has a large variety of game modes that give the game its great replayability, but as spending a few minutes in general chat would tell you, the game modes have a lot of room for improvement. So today, we'll be explaining how to fix every Item Asylum game mode. Starting with FFA, this game mode is almost perfect. I mean, it is a signature game mode after all. Although, the first thing I'd change is to change the timer from 8 minutes down to 6 minutes because it's a little too long. Actually, regarding the gameplay, I think some of the miscellaneous items are a little too useless. Maybe remove or add an actual use to items like Cardboard Cutout Floppa and Frog on a Leash. Besides its critiques, this game mode is amazing. Next is Kit. It seems like everyone either loves Kit or absolutely hates it. The first reason why people hate Kit, and the first thing that should be changed, is the amount of one-shot kits. Not only the legendary kits like End and Here Comes the Sun, but even this epic one with America and the Kamikaze kit can all ruin Merge Smiles or kits like Soul Survivor. This vast amount of one-shot kits makes legendary kits super fragile when they really shouldn't be. Kit is supposed to be the less chaotic and more straightforward version of FFA, but the one-shot kits make it even more chaotic, and not in the fun way. Another problem with Kit is there's very little item diversity. Like, think about how many kits have Legion Kata, Intervention, Lily Nets, Strain, Small Pebble, and the Bird Up items. In the case of the Bird Up items, this kind of makes sense, but for the rest of them, it just makes Kit really repetitive, and it takes up space where other melees could be. We can fix this by adding more kits with unique, interesting items, like Clef Prime's PR item, Armstrong Style, Ranga's Workshop, stuff like that. Kit is a great game mode, it just has some flaws that could definitely be removed. But don't remove the intervention kits, please, dude, these are too good. Next up is TC. Oh boy, do people hate this mode. TC is already pretty far in the dumpster for terrible game modes, but it's salvageable. The main problem with this game mode is how for some reason it's always so one-sided. Well, the first problem with this is lazy players. Constantly, people will be just AFK or sit and spawn and reroll items the whole match. Now, the first thing we should do to save this game mode is do what ZS does and just disable the reset button. Rerolling hurts this game mode and just makes everyone else on your team miserable. Well then, how do we get the items we want? Well, we make it like Kit. For weapon-specific classes, you can get 3 choices of what weapon you want. For example, if you're playing Backliner, you'll get the ability to choose 3 out of the 5 available weapons in the weapon pool, like Intervention, SSG, or Crossbow. That way you'll at least get a weapon that's moderately good, and it won't make you completely useless. Another thing we should do is buff teleporters. Make their repair time a few seconds shorter, and make the destroy time just like 1 or 2 seconds longer. The teleporter is the most useful asset to the attackers, and it's just a little too hard to enable sometimes. And finally, the maps. Now, this is much more of a core issue that is really hard to fix without crazy effort, but Canyon and Shorefront are designed kind of terribly. Canyon has way too many long angles that backliners can just exploit to infinity, and it also has way too much elevation, making the whole round just feel janky and unfair to both sides. Shorefront is terrible because half the map is open bridges where one meteor can just kill everyone. And I'm not saying this because I'm on the receiving end, I'm saying this because I feel bad just spamming knockback items for the entire round and suffocating the enemy. Like, it's not even fun. With all those changes, maybe TC will be a better game mode, but for now, we'll just have to live with the one we have. Next is ZS. ZS is actually a pretty solid game mode. The only thing that I'd change is to make the survivor and zombie system the same way it is in Juggernaut, where the older you are in the server, the higher chance you have to be survivor. I literally get zombie like 4 times in a row, and it just ruins the game mode. Gameplay wise, the only real problem is zombies having OP weapons like Wand. Just blacklist those and you're good. Also, I think Tongue actually needs a buff now, and tanks should have a bit more HP depending on the amount of players alive. Besides that, this game mode is pretty good. Next is MU. I actually like MU because it's a relaxing break from the chaotic nature of Item Asylum, but since everyone hates that, I guess I'll ADHDify it for you guys. The first thing we should do is add some sort of objective system that helps the survivors out. Kind of like a mix between the tasks in Among Us and the generators from Dead by Daylight. You do a puzzle or something, and then either the survivors get a speed buff or something else of value. Just something to keep the survivors busy that isn't just collecting clues. Next thing is remove lakeside cabin. Nah, I'm kidding. But the map A needs more clues, and B, the bushes need to be reduced. Every round we'll just have like 3 or 4 people just death posing in these bushes, and it just wastes time. And finally, the murderer's weapons. Who at JPX thought it was a good idea to add
Killer fish.
one of the melee items with the worst hitbox as a murderer weapon? And then to follow that up, they added comically large knife into the pool, which has one of the highest hitboxes in the game. Like, are you guys tweaking? First off, we remove both of these weapons, add more reasonable ones like pipe, rookie axe, and crowbar. And before you say, oh, Balake, but they're only adding knives into the weapon pool. As I stated earlier, you literally have a fish and vampirism in the weapon pool. I'm sure as long as it isn't something like pool noodle, it won't break the immersion. Overall, MU doesn't have too many flaws besides it being boring sometimes, but with a few tweaks, it can fit right in with the other game modes. I'm skipping bosses this video because that would require an in-depth analysis of every boss, and we don't have time for that. Besides, bosses are in a pretty good state right now anyway, besides maybe Ouija and the new matter. Elim, despite how many people hate it, is a very well-made game mode. It would be kind of fun though if you had like a spin-off game mode where you're in the Men of Nature dojo and you just have to duke it out with only melee weapons. But yeah, I don't really have any criticisms for this game mode. Sure, some people do get OP items and wipe the whole lobby, but that's just item asylum. Gun game is one of those game modes that's just kind of there. It's not that good, it's not that bad, it's just mid. The only thing that would help it is to remove that one random stage that gives you only one ranged weapon with no melee. Because you can be like 8 kills ahead of everyone and still end up losing because all you have in your inventory is no Kia. Besides that, this game mode is just kind of condemned to be mid. Next up is Juggernaut. Being one of the greatest game modes in the whole game, I don't really have much to say about the game mode itself. Hopefully we get more Juggernauts in the next coming updates, but the ones we have now are fine too. However, there's one huge flaw that's holding this game mode back: the maps. Let's go down the list. Critical Strike and Crossroads, too big. Containers, too small. Townie and Rocket Arena, too many obstructions and hard to reach places. Beta Islands, are you guys insane? The map is one of the smallest in the game right behind Small Plate, and there's void everywhere. And despite there being like no map to play on, you guys still made these trees to piss off the Juggernauts too. Woodworks is the only moderately balanced map, and even that one has spots where Red Mist has to do frame perfect jumps to even reach the challengers. I'm sure you're saying, well Balake, what map should we include then? Here's my new and improved map pool. First, we keep Woodworks, and we re-add Thunderstorm back into the map pool. I don't know why you guys even removed it in the first place. Next, we add Castle Conundrum. It has a lot of open void like Beta Islands, but it gives enough room to both the Juggernaut and the challengers so that they can fight properly. Also, the varying amounts of elevation give the challengers nice but easily attackable places to camp. Another one we add is Islands. Same formula, a lot of void, nice spots for elevation, and a decent amount of room for survivors to spread out on. And for the final map, I want Sketched brought back. This map was removed a while ago, but when it was still in the game, it was goated. It has a lot of ground and a bit of elevation, and I also want to see a Juggernaut get hit by one of the cars that fly by the highway, or fall in one of the pits. I don't know why this map got removed, I think the owner's allegations or something, but this video is only a hypothetical, and if we could magically get this map back, I want it in the JGN pool. And if that's not enough maps for you, if you want something like Beta Islands, we could also throw in 4 seasons. Overall, JGN is a great game mode, but the map pool hinders it a lot. And if you don't like the ones I chose, I'm sure people would be happy to make a map designed for Juggernaut. And finally, TDM. TDM is also one of those game modes that's just there. I mean, it's literally FFA, but in teams. The biggest issue TDM has is the amount of spawn camping that goes on. I think a simple solution to this is just to add the combat zone that TC does, but make it like the spawn area of each team. That way it's actually like a team deathmatch and not just a spawn camping session. And that's how to fix every game mode. Sorry it's been like 2 months since the last video. Hopefully the next one won't take nearly as long. For now though, thank you for watching, like and subscribe and all that, and I'll hopefully see you soon.